I always preach it to anyone when everyone's like, what's the one thing that I could do right now to elevate myself or get a step ahead? I'm like, just solo travel. You go to a random country, you don't know the language, and you figure it out, your confidence will skyrocket in your abilities. I was able to know I could go anywhere in the world with only clothes on my back, and I'll find a place to eat, I'll find a place to sleep, I'll make great friends, I'll make memories, and I was able to reinvent myself in a way.
The aura you give off definitely wasn't the case back in the day. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong.
My face would leak like pus, and so every day, like I would just have my hood on, and if anyone looked at me, I literally looked like a monster. And I'm sure if you have acne, you could probably relate, like when it's really bad, you just can't look anyone in the eye. If I was looking at you, I'd just be like, yeah, sounds good. At this point, like I couldn't sleep on my face. I had to sleep staring straight up, and by every time I would wake up, my pillowcase would be covered in pus because it would leak during the night. I had to wash my pillowcase every single day. In school, I remember I would carry napkins on me because anytime I would smile or anytime I'd eat food, it would like push it. You'd imagine like popping a bunch of pimples. Disgusting. So imagine I'm skinny, I have a shaven head, I have much acne, I'm depressed, but that was like, I'm just gonna make the biggest fucking glow up my school's ever seen. And
leaving the group that you used to be in, Raw Dawg, talk to me about this pivot and why you did that.
My main reasoning for leaving Raw Dawg and leaving such a good thing that we built, that's something I never really shared, but I feel like people can assume. Long story short.
What would you say is driving you at the moment?
At this very moment?
Yeah.
I feel like it's been changing over the past couple of years as like my rise and success. I feel like my motivation has changed, but right now I think the self-progression and knowing that I'm like so close to reaching bigger and bigger goals that I never thought imaginable, and just self-progression, knowing that I'm like that one guy digging mining, and like he's so close to reaching like the gold, and then the guy above him, the diamonds, and the guy above him like is so close, and then he gave up because he went so much further. That's how I feel right now. Like I'm so close to like setting up so many bricks for my future home.
Do you know what's interesting is like we constantly chase the diamond, but then you never really end up getting there, because when you get to the diamond, there's another one. It's kind of like these goalposts keep getting extended. Do you find that? Because obviously if you look at your life, there's been so much progression, so much change, and you probably couldn't imagine where you are now a few years ago, right?
Yeah, and that's so real. The diamond, like, yeah, you get a diamond, but then you're like, there's a bigger diamond, or that diamond is like, oh yeah, it's a cool diamond, but like, there's more diamonds.
Yeah. And then I guess you have this element of, like you just said before, there's a guy above you getting bigger diamonds. And so you just compare. Do you feel like it's like crazy looking back at your life and the amount it's changed? Like, do you ever like kind of sit back and reflect and go, I cannot believe this is life. Like, what the fuck has happened here?
Yeah, for such a long time, I actually would tell myself, and I would like tell other people, like, I would wait for the day that it all like crumbled, or like I all like woke up from a dream and I was like, oh, like that was never real. Like I'm still in the military. I'm still like making, fighting for change and stuff like that. But I feel like every year, every month, I'm starting to become more in tune with the new person I am, I guess. But yeah, no, definitely crazy to look back a year ago, a year before that. I feel like I keep climbing levels and levels, and at this point I'm like, how high can it go? Like truly, because I didn't even think it could go this high a year ago. So yeah,
I guess your normal changes, right? Like you reach another height, and then that becomes your normal, and then you kind of, if that's your baseline, and then you're striving towards the next things. Obviously, a big part about your brand is the fact that you do, like you're an athlete as well. Like you're doing certain training, you're doing marathons and different challenges and things like this that you're doing. Do you feel like that these physical challenges, is there like a main purpose for wanting to push your body physically? What's the reason you decide to do these things like Everest Base Camp and marathons and all the other things that you're doing physically?
Man, that's something I really don't even reflect on as much as I probably should. I just think that I always want to do something harder than the previous thing I did. So I feel like okay, I ran 50 miles last year in an ultra, and this next year I want to do 100. Like, and people are like, why don't you just do 50? Like, better time. I'm like, no, like I need to do something way harder, and like that's double. And I'm like, I know, I want to do something that like truly scares me. And then after I do it, I'm like, damn, look, like you could do it. Like with doing Never Space Camp, and I just summited Mount Kilimanjaro in Africa, the tallest mountain. And I don't hike. Like I live in Austin, Texas. There's no mountains and no elevation. And from that day to the next, we're on a mountain. But I truly just think that I want to not just see my limits, but push them and prove myself wrong.
Yeah. Do you think the mental benefit of doing physical challenge is insane, and it kind of sets you up for so many other areas of your life? Would you say that the like 49 miles in, or even probably like that 35 miles into a 50-mile race where you know you've got another 15 to go, like the mental battle you're going through then? I mean, I've not experienced that. I'm about to do like a team ultra marathon thing in the Malibu Mountains in 2 weeks, but I've never run a marathon before.
Oh, really?
But yeah, but do you feel like the mental benefit you get from the thing is one of the main reasons you're doing it, because you know you're kind of being better equipped for everything else you're about to go through in life?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like after the 50, I was like, damn, I could run 50 miles in one go in the middle of the night in the middle of Texas. Like, then I can do this easier. Like, it lowered the bar for everything else. So, like, I remember doing the 50 and I was like, dude, marathons are nothing now. Like, I could run 2 marathons in one go. Like, fucking hell, I'll go run a marathon tomorrow. Like cake. But I think a big thing actually is also purpose. Doing these things like truly gives me purpose, because if I just am just whimsically going through life and I have no end goal, or I mean, not that these are end goals, but like if I have no goals every like trimester, then I feel like I'm just floating. And I hate that floating feeling. I need to feel like I'm always progressing. And if I feel like I go back as a person, that's what like makes me spiral, if anything.
Yeah, well, we need something to strive towards. Hey, it's interesting. It's like we're not put on this earth to be stagnant and do nothing.
Yeah.
Like it's just not the reason we're here.
And it's like as humans, you do get stagnant sometimes. Like we want to be comfortable, we want to get lazy, and like even I will too. It's not like, it's funny. I was talking to my buddy today, and he was like, "Yeah, people DM me all the time and asking how I'm so consistent, how I get up at 6 a.m. every day and run." He's like, "Sometimes I don't. I lay on my phone on TikTok till 9 a.m. and then I'm like, fuck, I gotta get up. But then I eat, and then I run at 10. And I'm like, dude, fucking same. But you know, on social media, you might see me like running at 6 a.m. most days. Yeah, for sure."
Why do you never document those times?
I mean, I do still though. Like I will document and be like, fucking hell, like I just slept all day, yada yada, but I still got my run in. Like I'll post me, I have a treadmill in my kitchen. I sold my couch, I only have a treadmill. And I'll post me like running at 12 a.m. like, well, you know, busy day. Didn't get my run in this morning, so I'm on the treadmill now. Or, you know, if I got to get it in the mid-afternoon, I'm like, you know, I slept in, so, but I'm still getting it in. But that's the one thing, I still get it in. Even if I miss it, I know to get it in later.
Yeah. What's been kind of this transition in your life getting into business, and you know, an interesting thing that you've got the ice cream company that you're kind of working on at the moment, which is cool. You're wanting to open like a space, I've heard you talk about, and it was all kind of this transition from like leaving the group that you used to be in, Raw Dawg, and kind of going out on your own and wanting to create these other ventures. Talk to me about this pivot that you had where you decided to step away from this massive known group that obviously you guys built such a great name and people loved you guys being together. And it's not like you're separate, you're still doing all the things, you're still friends, but you kind of stepped away from that group and what they stood for in a sense to kind of pave your own way in a sense. Like, talk to me about this pivot and why you did that.
Yeah, totally. I'm glad we waited for this podcast too, because I was going to go on this podcast like months and months ago, but I feel like I didn't do enough to talk about. But this has always been a dream of mine, coming to Austin, Texas. Essentially, long story short, I was in the military and my goal was always to build a gym, build a space. It's evolved over time from just like a basic bodybuilding gym to now a third space. It's going to be more like a members club, but that's always been the goal. And so my main reasoning for leaving Raw Dawg and leaving such a good thing that we built, you know, after we did that in 1 year, and I mean, even after 3 to 4 months, it was biggest run club in the world. We gained 100,000 followers in 3 months, just not a single ad ran, and we were killing it. But that was always my goal. And I know that I just turned 24, and that I can't host a run club for the rest of my life, but I can franchise a gym for the rest of my life and have multiple locations. And for me to do that, I have to step away from things, not only taking my time, but um, Raw Dawg was, it's Raw Dawg, and if I want to build a premium members club gym, I can't also be the owner of a Raw Dawg run club that is traveling the world with his 3 friends and being rambunctious. And as much as I love it, and that is a part of who I am, another part of who I am is a businessman who wants to be respected in that space. So for me to get these premium members, these business owners, I want them to know that the owner of this establishment is premium as well.
Yeah. So I guess it's this reckless nature that Raw Dawg has and the reputation it has, which is so attractive. A lot of people like for a certain character, but I guess maybe you were trying to go down the more professional route where it's like, well, let's be a bit more respected by people in that space, in the professional realm, so I can kind of branch out a bit more and not just be this reckless hooligan in a sense, in terms of the character that you're giving off online.
Yeah, and as much as I still am rambunctious. Like I solo travel, I love to party still, and I love to do all the things, and I still show both. But that was just the route that I prioritized, and ever since then I've started my ice cream company. My gym starts demolition literally tomorrow when I fly home, and that'll be open in hopefully March. And so, I've been doing that for the past 8 months as well. So it allowed me the time, it allowed me the mental clarity. And in addition, like at the end of the day, we were just 4 kids that just something exploded and we had no clue. So it was messy, just like any other business, but it was more messy because none of us knew what the fuck we were doing. And and I'd rather leave while we're still sailing than jumping off a burning ship in a way.
Yeah.
So, there was going to be a lot more hardships to come, and I knew that I needed to leave while we were still set up. Like we still had our sponsors, we still had a bunch of contracts that I talked to before I left. But like I got us Gymshark and for a year sponsor, so they were still, financially covered. Everything was all good, but I had to just step away. And in addition, we started it off just as like best friends running. And over time, I feel like when you work in business with your friends, and then, all right, now the only times you start to see them is during the business. And then you start to see them less as just like, hey, like want to catch up and get a coffee. It's like, hey, come over because we got this business to do, or we're traveling together and I'm staying with them every day. And then once we get home back to Austin, then we don't hang out because we just hung out for the past week. So it started to like tarnish our relationships a little bit. And then it like got to the point where it's like, okay, like, are we really friends or are we just like business friends at this point? But even then, the business is messy. But that's something I never really shared, but I feel like people can assume. So even now they've continued and I've taken a step away and we're still friends, but I don't see them like, I don't know, I haven't seen them for a month maybe, except for one of them. One of them we're still really close, but I haven't seen them for a month because then they're doing their business and they're busy with doing the Raw Dawg and then doing their events. And then now I'm in my own lane and I'm traveling for my ice cream and traveling with Gymshark. So then we're kind of like just separate now.
Yeah. I guess if you left it on too long, it could really tarnish relationships because it can build up envy and like you were supposed to do this and you didn't do that. And we set out these responsibilities to do and you didn't fucking do them.
Yeah.
And I guess like when that can happen once and you can be a little bit annoyed at each other, but when it starts happening time and time again, you need to make sure that your I guess values are aligned and you guys are trying to achieve the same thing. And if the reality is like where you wanted to go and the route you wanted to go is different, you need to like respectfully move on. Was it a hard conversation? Was it a hard thing to go through initially when you wanted to do that? Or was it kind of something brewing that was happening for a while?
It was definitely brewing for a while. Because it's like 4 heads that are kind of the same and we're all like we're like all 4 bumping heads, like have different opinions on everything. Because I've just learned in hindsight that the best business partners are those that are like honestly opposite of you, because with my ice cream brand and with my third space brand, they're like very type A, like stay inside and just grind work, and they don't really like leave, and they don't really like care to socialize as much. One of them's like a family man, has a baby, he's like 33, 35, has a wife, and so that's all he's focused on. He's just focused on his laptop doing his thing. And me, like, I'm going out and making these personal connections. I will handle the events, the community, and that just works well. Rather than us, we all wanted to be on top of the shed, being the first one on the mic, screaming at people. We all wanted to be that, but there was no one in the back that was like, hey, let me handle the logistics of these merchandise drops. Let me handle customer service. So when shit hit the fan, we were like, well, whose fucking job was that? And we're like, well, it was your job. Well, no, you said this. And I was like, well, I'm doing this. So, but the conversation, very tough. I literally cried at the run club that when I announced it, 'cause I announced at the run club. I mean, I told the boys before, but I didn't tell anyone else. And I was just like, hey, I'm going to step away. But I was like choking up because like we built something so special. And every single weekend I would see 1,500 people that, would come up to me and tell me I changed their life for getting into running and gave people purpose every single weekend. It was like just a dopamine rush. So then knowing that I was going to leave it all and like, who knows what could happen to them, or it was a very tough conversation. I remember telling them, like, we were just sitting in their living room, and they had noticed it for me though, just like the distanceness, and they asked me like, do you still want to be in it? And just me saying like, no, I don't, was like heartbreaking. But like I had told like my parents, I had told like my closest peers of like, hey, what do you think I should do? And I mean, I got pretty much the same response from everyone that I talked to, so I knew it was the right decision. And even after, when I made a YouTube video about leaving, like I still got great responses and people understood. I feel like you can see through the lens of the type of person I am and the type of business Rawdawg is, and it doesn't fully align, maybe some way, but for a business to fully flourish, then you have to be, 100 miles per hour on it.
Yeah.
So,
well,
but
there it is.
Mhm.
I think I remember you posting the video explaining it, and it kind of makes sense. There can only be one main person, really. Like when you like, there's one CEO. It's like there's one point of contact, right? And when there's 4 A players that are all trying to be in front of the camera, it's like you can't have an A player that wants to build his own brand and face be the videographer. It's very hard.
Yeah.
Because like it's very hard for that person, because from a fulfillment standpoint, like they want to be the one on the other end. And so if you've got 4 people that are all doing it, I mean, it was a similar thing when it came to like me, Alfie and Jake, when we were doing businesses and doing everything together back in Bondi. It's that similar lens, right? Where you go like, who's doing the thing, like, and you want to make sure that, yeah, okay, we all formed and we made this amazing life around our friendship. But when business gets in the way, and it's exciting, by the way, because when you start to blow up and you're getting all this traction, it's so exciting. But then what happens is it can, quite frankly, just get in the way of your friendship, and it makes it hard.
What you originally built, the whole thing that you built it on. Yeah, definitely. But I mean, overall, I look back at it, and I mean, it was like probably the best year of my life.
Yeah.
Realistically. We traveled the world. We got paid to do it. They quit their jobs to do it. And they all like blew up on social media doing it as well. Like I already had a following before, so I was used to it. But like I watched the boys go from 2,000 followers to now Tin has 110,000. And I saw him working at a coffee shop, and he would get me free coffee, and he was like my boy. And I was like, dude, you got to post. We got to do this, yada, yada. And I remember like the first couple of videos, it's because one of the videos that popped up, I remember like we wanted to go run, and none of them wanted to run, and we lived down the street from each other. So then I just woke them up at like 6 or 7 a.m. and I made a video, and that one like blew up, and that was like a big start of things. And then from there we just took off. But like I look back, some of the best times of my life. And I know in 20 years, I mean, I got a damn tattoo on my thigh of it. In 20 years, I'll look back and be like, that was some damn good times with some damn good friends.
That's cool. Let's go back to younger Fonz, because like there's a very big transformation you document a lot. Like the person you are now, and the way you look, and the aura you give off definitely wasn't the case back in the day. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
There was quite a big transformation. How were you growing up? And just talk to me a bit about like how your high school days were, and I don't know, the challenges you may have had back then.
Yeah. So that's kind of what my social media grew on off of my transformation. First off, mostly because of my acne transformation. So that was when I was 16. And I mean, I grew up in Southern California, desert though. So whenever I say California, people are like, oh, LA, or like, and I'm like, no, it's like 3 hours east of LA, small desert town where people live to then drive 2 hours to LA to commute. But like, it's so cheap in the desert. That's why you live there. And so it's kind of like the bottom barrel of like California people, I would say. Of course, they're great people, but that's where my parents grew up, and that's where they chose for me. But I have 3 older brothers, so I don't know if there's any analysts out there that can psychoanalyze that. But
Youngest of 4.
Youngest of 4 brothers.
I'm youngest of 5.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm sure we could probably relate on some stuff. But so youngest of 4, and I feel like that definitely took into account a lot of my growth. But you know, just watching all your brothers leave one by one, and then you're the last one there, and you're just like, well, shit. Like I grew up with my brothers, and now they all have kids, and I mean, even to this day, like all 3 of them have kids, and I'm the only one that's just like, I'm literally like that cool uncle just traveling the world. I come back and I give my nephew like something from Japan, give them like something from Africa, and they're like all happy. And then yeah, but growing up, always the smallest, always super skinny, and I actually went to like a very it wasn't a private school, it was a charter school where you still wear uniforms, but you don't pay. But still, it was called Academy for Academic Excellence. So, you know, I didn't go to this public school. I didn't play football. I wasn't team captain of the football team and dating the cheerleader. I did play baseball all my life. And so went to a very small charter school. And I feel like that also built my values. I'm glad I didn't go to a public school. I was very in tune, and I had friends from kindergarten to 12th grade, and I was with the same group of people. But on the other side of that, like me and my family never traveled. I'd never been out of the country other than Mexico. But so that like I'd never seen the world. I was like, oh, the desert's not bad because I'd never seen anything else. So that's why I chose to go in the military. And then my older 2 brothers went in as well. So I saw what they experienced, and I was like, okay, cool. My brother just moved out. He's in Seattle, got his own apartment. I want that too. Let me get out. So I enlisted in the military, the United States Coast Guard. And from there, well, backtrack. All my acne put down my self-esteem a ton. I mean, it was probably the worst acne you guys have ever seen. It's the worst acne I've ever seen, honestly. And it's crazy because it's me. But I remember that really formed my early days, because before that, I was like, I mean, my school was small, but I was like one of the cool kids in school because I played sports. But I remember that hit me, and I just like, I always had my hood on. I was getting bad grades because I just wouldn't do my homework. I would go home and just go to sleep and turn off my lights. And it got to the point where like my face, you can see now I have a bunch of scars, but on this side, I was playing basketball and got hit in the face, and it popped. And from like then on, like my face would leak like pus. And so every day, like I would just have my hood on, and if anyone looked at me, I literally looked like a monster. And I'm sure if you have acne, you could probably relate, like when it's really bad, you just can't look anyone in the eye. Like if I was looking at you, I'd just be like, yeah, sounds good. Da, da, da. And so that went on for like 8 months too. It wasn't like 2 weeks. It was all of my sophomore and a little bit freshman year. So that shaped me. But then after that, I told myself, I had envisioned exactly who I wanted to be. So then once all this was done, I was going to get buff. I was going to get my hair done, grow out my hair. I was going to get back into sports and enlist in the military, and then kind of just prove exactly what I couldn't be to myself later. And that's what I ended up doing. But still had more trials and tribulations since I went in the military, and that's a whole another monster in itself.
Damn, we'll get there. I want to talk about this acne piece, because someone can look at your face and I can't comprehend how it even gets to that level. how quickly does it go from like one little spot on your face to extreme? Did you end up finding out a root cause as to why it was there? And were you doing things that was making it worse? Talk to me about like the progression of it getting to the severity it did. And then, I don't know, like how it kind of went away, like what you did.
Yeah. I mean, I had regular acne as any other, 14-year-old, just little things here and there. But for the most part, like my face was spotless. And then I don't know if this was a cause, but I took Proactive, which was like topical solution. I don't know if you remember Proactive. It was very popular popping back then, and like celebrities were using it. And so I remember like me and my brother both just had like a little bit of acne, so we both took it. And then my face started swelling. And then I started to get a little bit more acne, and I was like, okay, weird, but like, let me just kind of see it through. So I kept taking it, and it's just a topical. It wasn't anything. And I don't know if I stopped or whatever the case, but I just remember my face started swelling, and like my face was like a chipmunk. And I was like, this is weird. And I like told my mom, and she was like, okay, like that's a little weird, but like, let's give it another week. And then like within a week, it got like swollen as if I'd taken my tonsils out. And I was like, what? And I have all these photos. My mom took all these photos of me. So I literally have a progression with the dates of where I went from like, not a lot of acne, but kind of swollen to more swollen, a little bit more acne to now like blistered up faces and scabs. So I would literally say within a month, it just blew up. So it's like every week it just got progressively worse. But yeah, I remember it started swelling and then started having individualized cysts. So I had 2 big ones on each side, one here, and then like just like the most amount of whiteheads you've ever seen. But the crazy thing, I had nothing on my back. I had nothing on the rest of my body. So a lot of people ask me like, oh, what do you do about back acne? I'm like, I've never had back acne. Everything's been on my face. But to get rid of it, went to a dermatologist. And then, but the thing with that, they only gave me like a very low dose of another medicine called doxycycline. And that just kind of dries you out. And then, so then I was on that for another like 2 to 3 weeks, and it didn't do anything, but it just postponed me actually getting better. And if anything, it might have made it worse. And then I finally went back, and that's when it was really bad. And then, so they put me on Accutane, which if you guys know Accutane, it's the strongest, like basically acne curing drug, but it comes with a lot of side effects. So like for females, you can't have kids on it. And it could it lessens your chance of fertility. And the biggest thing though, a lot of mood swings, like depression, like it's like proven to literally cause depression. So I remember that was a huge thing, but like it was the only option at that point. At this point, like I couldn't sleep on my face. I had to sleep staring straight up. And by every time I would wake up, my pillowcase would be covered in pus because it would leak during the night. So like I had to wash my pillowcase every single day, and it was like disgusting. So then mind you, when I'm doing it in school, I remember I would carry napkins on me, and I'd have to dab my face because it would be pussing out. Because anytime I would smile or anytime I'd eat food, it would like push it. Like all these pimples, you imagine like popping a bunch of pimples. Disgusting. So then after that, I took the Accutane, but the thing with Accutane, it gets better before it gets worse. So it pushes like all the acne out before. So then like it was already bad once I started the Accutane, and then it took another 3 to 4 months, pushed everything out. And then it started slowly getting better and better. Like the acne started going away. But this time I had accidentally popped that side, didn't get stitches on it. I couldn't shave my face. So it's all like peach fuzzy because I'm like 16. And then my face was just really red for like about a year. And then slowly just went away. Yeah.
Dude, you mentioned when you would smile, you'd have pimples pop.
Mm-hmm.
I'm imagining that there wasn't much smiling going on back then in that time. Talk to me about, like, you mentioned you would just want to go and hide in your room. Like, are they quite vivid memories all of the time? Just like hiding because like you couldn't even look at someone in the eye. That would have been quite a full on 9 months.
Yeah. I literally remember like, I was in all honors classes. Like I was a 4.3 GPA student, and I remember I got my first C, and I just like didn't give a fuck because I was like, dude, like I don't want to even look up for the teacher to like call on me. And and my teachers knew, like, I mean, if you're a teacher and you see a kid going through that, you're not gonna like pick on him. And so I remember just my grades were dropping, and every single day I would just run to my room, like not even say hi to my mom or dad, and just go to straight to sleep. And at this time, my brother was driving me home and too from school. So I remember every day, like we would just sit in silence and just look out the window. And me and my brother have like talked about it since. And I remember him telling me like, sorry, because like he never like asked if I was okay. Like, you know, just as an older brother, you're just like, hey man, you good? And I'm like, yeah, fine. But like, obviously you should know your little brother is like, has a fucked up face. He's not fine. But yeah, I just remember turn off all my lights. I'd have the blanket over my head and just sit there until it was time to go to sleep. And just literally just cry because I'm like, I didn't talk to anyone all day, and I didn't barely even ate because I remember like I would try to eat a burger and I couldn't open my mouth wide enough because my face was swollen. And like the cyst on my cheek would rise, and I just couldn't physically, like I couldn't physically do it. So yeah, very vivid memories of all that, but it just like really drove my passion to become better after. And that's why I wear this necklace, actually. I don't know if anyone ever wondered that, but I've been wearing it since then. So my grandpa gave me this necklace, and then I remember I was like, oh, this is such a cool necklace, but it's only for like cool people, like long haired and like buff guys. Like I can't wear this right now. So I told myself, like, when you get better, you're gonna, oh, and I shaved my head too, because the hair would get like in my pimples and stuff when I would like wash my hair, and it would just like hurt because then I have to like dig all my I don't know, I didn't want hair on my face with pimples. So then I shaved my head. So imagine I'm skinny, I have a shaven head, I have much acne, I'm depressed. But that was like, I'm just gonna make the biggest fucking glow up my school's ever seen, and you know, so yeah.
Do you think that that has played into anything that you've done? Kind of, do you think it affects you to this day in any way, shape, or form? Do you think there's any limiting beliefs, traumas, things like this that are kind of showing up in your life because of those 9 months?
Yeah, it's funny because like people will comment nowadays and be like, "You're still just that little kid with acne," like haters, right? You're still just that kid with acne, blah blah blah, and like that kind of hits me more so than any other hate comment because I'm like, yeah, like I mean, I kind of am. Like, I still have this timidness time to time, like whether it's talking to girls or talking to just like some high level people of like might be on eye contact, or it might be just like not holding myself to like a higher standard value, I guess, because at the time, like no one would even look at me, or if they're looking at me, I know that you're just like, oh shit, like this kid's like ugly and fucked up. So now I still have like, I don't know, little things that people will call out, and I'm like, oh yeah, it's probably because like I was literally looking like a monster for 9 months. So I don't know, little things like that people call out.
Do you think that that inspires people more? Because I'm looking at this going like, it's kind of when someone can see where you've been, they are more, they can relate to you a lot more. Like when you see someone like yourself who's documenting this perfectly put and amazingly curated Instagram feed that's got like all the most amazing things. You're traveling, you're good looking, you're jacked, you're what a lot of people admire to be. Being able to show where you were gives them, it kind of can allow them to remove you from this pedestal that they seem to be putting you on. It's quite powerful because without that, they're just like, oh, he's just never been through any challenge. He's just got get handed everything in his life. He's just a lucky guy.
Oh yeah.
And I think being able to show it is so powerful, hey? And then also when someone says something, you can be like, no, mate, I was actually pretty fucked.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't smile without leaking.
Yeah,
you know?
literally. Yeah, no, for sure. I'm so glad I documented it. I'm so glad my mom took all these photos and that I shared it as well, because people still, I'll get a comment here and then where it's like, wow, like, you know, daddy bought everything. He's a trust fund baby and like yada yada. Or, you know, this guy lives a perfect life. He's never suffered a day. And I'm like, dude, actually, I mean, yeah, like I was fucked at one point at 16, and not even that. Like I went in the military and worked for everything I got. Never took a dime from my parents, and if anything, I've given more to my parents now than I've gotten. So it's honestly quite the opposite. But of course, like you see a little curated feed where I'm like, you know, being performative, quote unquote, with my new cars that I just got, and you think like, damn, this guy has a life. But like, it was more like I built a life. So
Was the military what you expected?
not at all. Yeah, not at all. I mean, each branch is different, I would say, but I feel like there's a lot of still values that all military members can relate to. And I remember like when I went in, like my older two brothers went in as well. I have three, but he had cancer, so he couldn't go in. But besides the fact, I remember they didn't tell me like how shitty it was. They just told me the good parts. Like, yeah, like it could be a little tough, but it will make you a man, you know? And of course, me, 16 years old, I'm like, all right, cool, sounds good. But they didn't tell me like how lonely it is and like how you're just going to leave everything behind at such a young age. And you're going to do a lot of shitty stuff that you don't want to do. And I don't know, when you're 18 and you never had a real job, and now I was in the Coast Guard, so like I'm stuck at sea for 10 hours at a time, like against my will, really, and doing a bunch of stuff that requires a lot of sacrifice at such a young age. That's something I didn't expect. I just expected like, yeah, I'm gonna move and they're gonna, and I had very optimistic. I was optimistical, and I thought that they would send me to Hawaii and I would be just on small boats and I'd just be like chilling through islands and saving people, and it would just be all, you know, unicorns and rainbows. But I got sent to Northern California in the redwoods, very desolate place, and just like suffered because I left a month after high school. And so now I'm like living the best time of my life in the summer with my friends, and now I leave for boot camp 2 months, and boot camp is not fun, but it makes you a man, and it was nice. And then now I do the real job, and I get thrown on. I was at a surf station where we endured like the highest waves that boats can, 20 feet, and so we're saving sailors, we're saving surfers that get knocked out, we're saving boats on fire. Nothing insane, but stuff that an 18-year-old wouldn't expect to do. But other than that, like it was just long days. It was like a firefighter schedule where 3 days on, 2 days off, slept at the station. So as an 18-year-old, it's just a little weird where you're working, you go from not working at all to working like you have less time off than you have on, obviously. And yeah, like, I mean, every other weekend I was sleeping on the station. So like, even if I did make friends and, you know, a normal 18-year-old, 19-year-old, whatever, would go partying every weekend, like I was like, like I got work. But then that would lead to me to getting fucked up on a Monday and Tuesday with my 26-year-old coworker that would buy me alcohol because I'm in the military, and that was just the culture, like just drink. So kind of just drank the pain away at a young age.
When you say it was lonely, what does that mean? Was it just isolating, like not being able to, loneliness isn't the absence of people, it's the absence of connection.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it's not about having people around, because you can be in a room full with people and feel so disconnected and isolated and lonely from them. And so the term loneliness is actually not being able to connect, relate with people. And I think that's the thing that a lot of people go through, right? Especially when they're growing and changing so much. But for you as an 18-year-old going into the military, it's like you don't know what you're about to embark on. You've been sold the highlights, which is like most things in life. They don't really touch on the lowlights as much. So you've been sold the highlights. You've then embarked on this journey, being presented with something that was humbling, to say the least, and then you felt isolated. But when you say it was lonely, like what was your experience with being alone or being lonely in the military?
Yeah, I mean, the people are with the best they could, and I think everyone was lonely. Like, that's why you see so many military members getting married, like, snap of the fingers. Not only because benefits, but because, like, there's no one around that they truly connect with. So when they find a girl that fits any comfort, then, all right, yeah, you're mine. So
damn. So what the standards lower? They drop really low in the military.
Low. Yeah,
because it's just like whatever I can find.
Yeah, well, you're so lonely, and you get that like just sense of comfort, and you want to hang on to that. And in addition, they pay you like $1,000. You know, it might be even more depending on where you live, but like $1,000 extra a month to have a partner, and we get paid $3,000 a month, depending on rank, but like $3,000 is kind of baseline. So that's like. And that's after, I mean, that's not including rent. So like you pay another 1,500 on rent, maybe you got 1,500 left, you pay, 500 on groceries, you're left with like 1K, but then you got a car payment. So it's like, you're left with like $300 at the end of the month. So it's like, fuck, like you got no money. So it's like, if I
Find a wife,
get a wife that loves me
$1,000.
and I get more money, oh, sign me up. But thank God I didn't fall into that trap. But it's like all the friends that you make are kind of forced because like you don't get to pick your friends. It's like being in school. Like you don't get to pick them. They're kind of just like your high school friends. Like they're just there. So you kind of got to be friends with them. But it's even worse because everyone's at different ages, different stages. Like a lot of them had wives, but like we still slept in the same like quarters together for 3 days at a time. So like a lot of good memories and stuff. Like they were 26 years old, 28 years old, 32 years old. And I'm this fresh 18-year-old that like, I was 2 months before that, I was playing high school baseball and they have babies and they're going back to their family. So like, it just was very, a lot of forced connection. Like, don't get me wrong, still great friends at the time. But if we were in a room with other people and I could pick my friends, I probably would not choose them first. But still great people and made great times, but a lot of bad times too. And like the military culture is just bad. Everyone's, for the most part, just alcoholics. And if you try to do anything above or better than the military, then they shut it down and shit on it. So like I remember I still was very into fitness and I tried to be like a fitness influencer when I was 17 and 18, made YouTube videos, had an Instagram account. And I remember at my first station, I tried to pick it back up and I would try to go to the gym and my boss would like, he was like short, fat, bald, divorced. And he's like, Fonville, why the hell you want to go to the gym, huh? You always just want to go to the gym, huh? How about you just go down and go clean the boats? And how about you go study your qualifications and yada, yada. And I'm like, dude, like, I'm just trying to, get healthy and get more confident. And, as a leader, you should have seen that and been like, yeah, like, hey, go get after it. Like the boats can wait till the work day tomorrow, or, you could study after the gym, but they would like not let me go to the gym or not let me get my meals in. Like I would have meal preps and they'd be like, why are you always doing that? Huh? Why don't you just eat with us? And I'm like they want you to stay down with them. And even went carried over to my next station when I wanted to do social media and I was editing my YouTube videos during lunch and people were just like, what are you doing? You need to get back to work. Like, mind you, and I'm like, dude, my work's done. Like I grinded my work out and now I got extra work. So
yeah, they're not leaders, they're managers. It's like there's a massive difference between leadership and management. It's like people seem to think that they get promoted, they get some job title and it all of a sudden makes them a leader. But no, like the best leaders are the ones that lead by example. And like true leadership, if you were to think about a proper Navy SEAL that's leading the way, he's not telling anyone what to do. He's leading by example and people are inspired to adopt and change and adapt his movements into their own routine and into their own life. Like that's what true leadership is. Exactly. It's like, I'm going to lead by example and a byproduct of that is you're going to do so. But the moment it's like, do this, do this, do this, do this, no one really wants to be told what to do. You're not a leader. You just have a superiority complex, and you can't. Not superiority complex. You're not a leader. You just have kind of like an authority problem. They just
got handed a title and they think that they got the crown. It's something that actually is very prevalent in the military, where you rank up based off a test that you take, and it doesn't. Little bit of experience, but like at the end of the day, it's honestly just how you rank on this test. So I remember like. There's a certain point where I was at E4, and once you make E5, you get a lot more responsibility. And so people will get that E5, and they used to be E4 with you. But once they get that E5, then technically they're like, your boss now. And people just flip a switch where it's like, last month we were buddies, we were drinking, like we were on the boats together. And then now he's my boss technically. So now he's barking orders and making me go, pick up the shit outside when we were picking the shit up together last week. So it's a crazy thing in the military with that. And, also in the military, there's enlisted. I don't know if you guys have this as well, but enlisted and officers. So enlisted is like me, like 18-year-old, you just go to boot camp, you go in. But officer, you go to either you went to college and then you went to the officer candidate training school, or you went to like the academy. And then after your 4 years, then you're just automatically an officer and you get paid so much more than us. I mean, I don't know their pay, but you get paid so much more than us. You're in the best housing. and you're in charge of all enlisted. So even someone who's been in for 20 years, that officer who just went to 4 years in college is already in charge of him with no experience at all. So like this officer's telling us how to run the boats, how to do these like search and rescue cases when he hasn't been on one his fucking self. So that's something that us enlisted just hate, like these entitled officers that went to college for 4 years and now they're telling us who've been in for 4 years what to do.
That's like a business professor at college trying to tell you how to run a business, but you've never even run a business yourself. You're just teaching people how to do it. It's this interesting power dynamic. I find it happens with a lot of people that get into these authoritative positions like police and stuff like this. Is a lot of the times they can be this complex in them where they just want to be able to have power and control. It's like some sort of power play. I'm fascinated by this journey of yours and this transformation. You've been explaining, obviously, the events that happened when you got all the acne, the high school, the pivot from being, somewhat of a cool kid to not even wanting to leave the house. Then you kind of have this drive to go into military. Obviously, you've got your brothers that have been in there as well. And so there's someone that's kind of already walked that walk a bit. So you're like, okay, well, this makes sense. I want to do this. I'm going to be a better man and X, Y, and Z. But then it's kind of led you into where you are today. And you're in this position where you're very in the limelight, very showy, very like kind of in a sense inflated. It's like by participating in the work you're doing and what I'm doing, but by participating in it, you're essentially like creating this like status that's like people look up to, and it's quite like a showy thing.
Yeah.
How's your relationship been with external validation? Has it been an interesting thing, kind of making decisions based on what people are going to think? Because it's something I've battled with as well, is making decisions based on what other people are going to think as opposed to what I actually truly deep down want. Has it been a battle for you? Definitely, like kind of being thrown into this and experiencing high levels of attention. Have you struggled with external validation?
Not as much as others, I think, honestly, because like from day one, I've always posted what I want for myself, and I've never had any crazy, like changing myself for others. And of course, I've had like little hiccups where I'm like, maybe I should lean into this more because this is what's trending for this person, so I should be more like that. But I mean, for the most part, I started, like when I first started social media, I was a pure bodybuilder. I just was doing a bodybuilding competition and was just posting me, shredded and be like 2 weeks out, 3 weeks out. And then from there, I went into solo traveling, and then I wasn't bodybuilding at all anymore. And then from there, I just kind of changed my whole persona to this guy who runs but has these cool cars and also travels but does hard stuff, and then now is doing business. But like I've never people like make fun of me like, oh, like this 70s cosplay guy, and like I don't know, or be like, where do you get your style from, like who's your inspiration? And I've never had this one person I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be just like that person. Like I didn't look at Matthew McConaughey and I'm like, I'm gonna be just like him. Like I just had this like when I had my acne, I had this vision for a cooler version of myself that I wanted to accomplish. And same as I did when I was in the military, I'd make this New Year's Eve goals list every single year since I was 20. I went to New York and take it next to Times Square, and I put apart who I envision, and I would physically describe myself and emotionally and mentally. So like I remember at the time I was bulking, I was like 210 pounds, and like for example right now I'm like 180. And I put nose piercing, tattoos, long hair, and at the time military, short hair, had a little mustache, shredded, and I even put down to the car that I would have. I didn't even have this car yet, and it was 2 years out from having this car. And I put 1967 Mustang, and then I even put maybe earrings, and I have like 2 earrings now, but I don't have any this side because they're like a last game time decision. But like I envisioned exactly who I wanted to be, and then I executed it. But that was not based on anyone. That wasn't based on what people liked. It was simply what I liked deep down and who I envisioned for myself. But I truly think that the content that I make, the things that I do, it's not based off of anyone or anything. I would say one trap that I maybe fall into is like if I'm not doing anything, I don't feel as important. So if I'm not traveling and doing this Everest Base Camp trek or I'm not doing this marathon, then maybe eyes won't be shifted on me as much. But then at the end of the day, like I love doing these crazy stuff, and that's my internal purpose. It's not for anyone else's, but obviously as a human, I know in the back of my mind, the cooler shit I do, the more eyes I'm going to get, the more opportunities I'm going to get. And that is my business, and that's my life.
It's your line of work, right?
Yeah, it's my line of
And
work.
it's not about saying it's a bad thing, but maybe more so just recognizing that that's just part of the game that you're choosing to play in, I guess.
Yeah, one thing I always say is like you have to play the game of social media. Like I'll get into creative ruts where I just don't want to post, or I don't want to, because I think like, oh no, that's cringy, or like that's just performative, and I want to be very real. But at the same time, like you have to play the game. You have to, use these words that kind of generate some clickbaitiness or generate some engagement. So at the end of the day, like, yeah, you can be real, but you have to play the game, but stay true to your roots.
Yeah. Has there been moments in the time of social media and the kind of line of work that you're in now, has there been moments where just you've been like, I don't want to do this anymore? Has there ever been times at all where, or has it all just never been a doubt, kind of like continue to keep going? I haven't really felt that specifically, but obviously motivation goes in peaks and troughs. But have you ever had any times where you kind of were like, nah, this isn't it?
Yeah, I went through a really rough patch. Like before I left Raw Dawg, and during, I was like, no, I remember I like went a month without posting, but I just didn't even realize. Went like 3 months without posting on YouTube, just because I simply just didn't have the ideas. And I just went through like a very depressive rut where I just didn't want to post. I didn't want to share my life. And I was like, what's the point? Like, I don't care for anyone to even see what I'm eating today, or I don't, like, even if I ran 10 miles, like, why should I share it? Like, I don't care. But never too serious with like, yeah, I'm going to stop it all, because I've always just done it for like the love of the game. Like I generally think social media is my journal. So I don't ever post with like this super monetary motivation. I always just post because I want to, and then the money kind of comes. But I feel like as I'm growing, I kind of have to have a little monetary motivation now, because I'm like starting to get more brand deals, and I'm starting to get it more into business. So I can't just whimsically post. But I feel like for the long run, it helps if I just treat it as my journal, and that's it. And then I don't get these like major creative ruts, or I don't get where I don't want to post, because then it starts feeling like a job, and I don't want to feel like posting my life as a job. I want to, be able to pull in my camera and talk to it, and not feel like I'm always doing an ad, or I'm doing it for money. And that's why I don't have an agent. I did have an agent, but I don't, and I haven't for 2 years, because he made it feel like a job for me. Like, as much as I appreciate him always giving me deals, it was like I'm always talking about doing these random ads and doing these sound promos, and at the end of the day, it just wasn't worth it for my mental, because I'm like, dude, like I've done like 3 deals this week, and like all my posts are like ads and making money. And like sometimes I just want to post me riding my car, and I want to post me running, and with not a link attached, not no code. And I think that people see that as well, and will gravitate towards you if you're not always pushing stuff.
Yeah.
Kind of straight off the question there, but
no, that's it's kind of how it works. So you need to find this balance of posting to make a living. Filming the brand deal is not the hard part. Pressing post is the hard part. I think people don't understand this, and even brands at times don't seem to grasp this. They think, we're paying you this money and all you have to do is just post a video. I'm like, are you kidding me? I've spent hours, thousands of hours over years building the trust with my audience. It's like, look at my page, thousands of posts. Like I've spent so long on this thing for me to be able to post and have influence on your brand and the audience that I've built. It's not the filming of the ad. That's fucking easy.
Yeah, I could cook that up in 5 seconds.
It's the post of it. And I think it seems to be, and I remember before I did all this, I remember I had some friends, they were the largest male models in the world, Jordan and Zach Stenmark, and they were my best friends in Bondi. And I remember they would like say that they would pay for their hotels and stuff, even though they're like partnered with all these hotel brands. And they would like, and I remember that he would say to me that he would like pay for his travels when he didn't have to. And I couldn't wrap my head around that. I was like, wait, why would you do that? And he's like, I don't want expectation. I don't want to have to do these things for brands. And then I get in the position where I'm there and I just get it so much now. I'm like, I don't want to post the deal. I just can't bring myself to make my page an ad for everyone. And so
sometimes you want to go somewhere and not like tell anyone you're going here, not being like, hashtag hotel this and, I don't know.
Yeah. What do you think is kind of things that people don't see? Like, do you think there's part of your work that you wish people saw to understand you more? Or do you feel like you kind of document everything? Or do you feel like you're being misunderstood online at times?
I document most for sure. Like, I'm on YouTube, I'm on TikTok, I'm on Instagram. One thing I'm not on is Snapchat though, because I don't want to post my day-to-day life.
Yeah.
But one thing I think misunderstood is like when I post like flexing off my travels or like my car, and people get this stigma of like arrogance, I would say. And I think that people confuse arrogance for confidence, and confidence that used to be lack thereof. So when I do post and it might be like a selfie, I'm like, it's because that day I was looking at my face and like, damn, maybe my scars are, kind of going away. Like I feel good about myself. Let me post it. Or like, I just recently got a car last month, and people were like, a lot of people happy, but a lot of people are like, oh, like you just got this car to show off and da-da-da. I'm like, no, like I've loved old cars like since I was young, and it's a big goal that I accomplished. And of course I'm going to want to share it because at the end of the day, social media is my journal. So I think like people confuse arrogance for confidence, and it's hard to even say as the creator that, because like, if it stinks like arrogance, it's arrogance. Or, and of course, no one wants to believe that they're arrogant. They're always going to say, "No, I'm just confident," and you're just mad.
But it's all perception, though. At the end of the day, the thing about all of this is, you can post something and it gets 100,000 views, and there's 100,000 different perceptions and interpretations of the one thing. Like everyone looking at that photo of that car, which is sick, by the way. The car's fucking awesome. Left hand drive, right hand drive.
But same. It's normal for you, but it's not normal for me.
Yeah. It's weird seeing that in America. Like you see a Japanese car, it's cool. But like 1,000 people see it, 1,000 different perceptions of the thing. Sick car. Oh, the colorway of that's different. Oh, what a loser. Like everyone is looking at that photo in a different way. Actually, I was like, oh, the steering wheel. What the hell?
Yeah. Alfie used to post something where like he would put one post and then put like the separate sides of comments, and one would be like, oh, you're a fucking asshole, like this and that. And then another one's like, dude, I love how shredded you are. Like, what's your tits? Or you got me into working out. And it's like the contrast of what someone views this one post as. It doesn't necessarily mean like it's all bad or all good. Like, and that's why I always just try to stay true to what I like and what I like to post, because all these perceptions, like they're literally different. Like, I don't think in any one video in the entire world is everyone on completely one side hating on them, or everyone's completely one side loving on them. Like, you're always going to receive both. So take each side with a grain of salt. Like, even all the good comments, like don't let it blow up your head, but even the bad comments, don't let it, drag you down.
Yeah, and I think it takes a big moment of something that maybe might be perceived as controversial, but you truly believe it's true for you to happen. Like, say some sort of negativity, some bad press or something comes out, and then you get like flamed with really good, flamed with really bad, and then you just start to realize that like absolutely everything is just mirroring someone and what they have or don't have. And it's quite a freeing feeling to know that every single message you get, it's actually got nothing to do with you. It's all them. It's like,
it's really projections, but I find it always hard to say as a creator, like, oh, you're just projecting because you're mad because you're not in my position. Like, I don't know, it's I don't want to say privilege as the creator. But
the thing is though, is I don't care what they all say. You were 16 and you couldn't leave your bedroom.
Yeah.
And like,
so it's like, fuck all now.
Who cares about any of it? I just look at it and I just go, mate, I was in a place, well, this is not me, you. I'm in a place where I can't smile without my face bursting.
Yeah.
And like the fact that you are where you are now is one of those things where you have to go like, anyone hating clearly doesn't like it's clearly there's something going on there because
Yeah.
like you see someone go from a really low place and a dark place to then overcoming that and being something that people admire. You can't just like for someone to shit talk that, it just kind of doesn't make logical sense. It's all emotional.
Yeah, it has to be something internally, upsetting in them that they're, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people wish that they're in my position getting paid to, live their life essentially. So, I'm sure if I was very upset with my own life and I saw if I was a different person, I was very upset with my own life, maybe stuck in a job I hated and I just felt like there was no way out, which I used to be. And then you see this guy just living, making money and posting his life. And you're like, how the fuck is he even making money? How's he traveling? How's he getting these new cars? You might be like, well, fuck you, and that's the best you could say. But then on the other hand, once you start to grow, you're like, oh wait, maybe this guy put in some work to get there, and he's reaping what he sowed.
Yeah. What about like this solo travel element that you've done a bit of solo travel and doing stuff alone? There's a lot of isolation and solitude that comes with solo traveling, right?
Mm-hmm.
How important do you think solo travel has been for your growth and spending all that time alone in foreign places?
I feel like that really kickstarted everything I have now. When I got out of the military, if I would have just went home and then kind of went to college, and because that was the plan, I was going to come home and then use my BH and go to college. But I instead took a 3-month in Europe just alone, one backpack, just figured it out. And that built my confidence greatly. I was able to know I could go anywhere in the world with only clothes on my back, and I'll find a place to eat. I'll find a place to sleep. I'll make great friends. I'll make memories. And I was able to reinvent myself in a way. I wasn't this military guy, that only bodybuilding guy that people knew me as. I wasn't this acne kid where everyone knew my past. I was simply who you met that day, maybe on a beach in Guatemala, or I was that just cool guy riding a moped in Croatia, and able to just trust myself. And it came with a lot of solitude, and that's why I got this tattoo. Solace means being comfortable, being alone, finding peace in being alone. And yeah, I feel like I always preach it to anyone when everyone's like, what's the one thing that I could do right now to, elevate myself or get a step ahead? I'm like, just solo travel. Like, you go to a random country, you don't know the language, and you figure it out, your confidence will skyrocket in your abilities, and you'll learn about culture of other people. You meet the best people who are in tune with who you are and want to be as well. Like, the amount of people I've met solo traveling, I would say like could be my more best friends than my high school best friends. Like, those are the type of people I love. Anyone that you could call in 5 minutes and be like, hey, let's go fly to yada yada, and they'll be there. Like them, I only I booked my places every 3 days, so I would be in a new country every 3 days or whatever. I had booked it for the first 2 months, and that was my big mistake because I remember I was in Spain, booked it for the rest in Portugal and Spain, and then my girlfriend broke up with me, and I was like, and I started staying in this hostel in Spain for 2 weeks, and I was so lonely. It was like a pod hostel too, so it was very like isolated, and I was like, what the fuck am I doing? So from then on, I went to 15 countries after that, and every 3 days, I picked a new place. So I'd be in Croatia. 3 days later, I'm in Greece. 3 days later, I'm in Germany. I remember I went to Oktoberfest, and I didn't expect to that whole time. Like, that whole trip just transpired, and good time alone allows you to think not even about the present, but a lot of future, and get things aligned for who you want to be. So, and it's hard though, like sitting alone with your thoughts for sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think the military also taught me, like in boot camp, we couldn't talk unless we were spoken to, or we could only say certain things. Like, I would have to be like, Chris, Ian, can I go to the bathroom, sir? But I couldn't be like, hey, excuse me, like I've had a long day, like can I go pee? You know what I mean? Like, you couldn't talk like regularly. So that taught me to basically keep my mouth shut and think about things.
When you started the travel, you just said your girlfriend broke up with you. Did you start traveling with a girlfriend, or did you?
No, I went the intention of traveling solo, but I met up with her because we did long distance for 2 months. And then it's funny, we went to Ibiza together. And then we just fought all week. And I mean, I'm so glad it happened. Like, I could not even imagine staying with her. I mean, great girl, but I couldn't imagine even staying with her. But yeah, she broke up with me because I mean, I had 3 more months of solo travel, and she was going back to the States. So like, it just wasn't gonna work. But I remember I was heartbroken for like the first month. I was like, I gotta go home. If I go home, then I could get her back. And so that whole trip was like heartbroken. Just got out of the military, so like life just totally did a flip, and just a crazy evolution.
Yeah, I think that forces you to think though, because if you're heartbroken and you're in solitude and you're in a foreign place that you don't know, it's like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, what am I?
I remember specifically sitting at a bus stop in Spain, just crying because I had left her, and then she's like texting me like, yeah, we're done. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I was going to fly you out like next month to me and, Spain and blah, blah, blah. And then like, I remember I was like fighting against it. And I just remember like, I realized I was like, fuck, I'm alone for 3 months now, heartbroken. Like, what am I going to do? Because I thought like she was like my rock. Like, oh yeah, when I get lonely out here, I'm just going to be able to FaceTime her and text her. And now I literally have no one. So, crazy work.
You mentioned at the start of the conversation about how all your brothers have family.
Mm-hmm.
They've all had kids. They've got partners. You've spoken about on your Instagram that you are like, that's kind of like something that you do get that does excite you, right? Like having a family and finding the one and of doing that. Where do you kind of sit with that, and where you kind of at in your life at the moment, and what's something that you would like?
It's so hard to find a partner with who I am now, because I feel like I have so many like facets to my life that they need to have synergy. So like, they need to travel, but they also need to be fit, but they need to run specifically, because like, I'm not going to be, not that I want to do marathons, but like I would love to do a 5K with my partner, because I run every single day. So that'd be, an hour or 2 without her. So like, I would love to share that sometimes. And that's very rare to have a girl who, well, I mean, there's more, but like also she has to work like a remote job or social media, because I'm going to be traveling all the time. So if there's someone that's working a 9 to 5, it's hard to be like, all right, peace out for 2 weeks, babe. Like, no, she'd have to come with me. So like, it would literally have to be a mere self in a girl for me. And like, I feel like I'm a very rare person in a lot of ways. So like, I would have to find an even rarer person, especially because a lot of my ways I feel are more like male dominant, like solo traveling, probably male dominant, and like, and running, doing marathons, probably male dominant. So it's kind of hard to find that. But like, everything I'm doing is for the intention of building a family. So like, doing this ice cream company, it's not like I'm doing it for fun. Like, I'm doing it so in 3 to 5 years I could sell and get millions, and I set my family up. And then doing this gym franchise, so I'd have a bunch of, in 5 to 10 years when my family is actually here, then like I would be set up. I'm not starting when I'm 30. I'm starting when I'm 22. So by the time that it actually happens, the bricks are already laid, the house is built. But it's basically just tough finding a unicorn.
I actually remember now that you're explaining that. I remember a video you did. I think it performed so well. I remember seeing a video. I think you were just sat in your car, just like saying like, I don't know if this is like a normal thing. I wish I could pull it up. I don't know if it's a normal thing, but like, it's so hard to find someone like I want a girl that's not like fit and crazy and insane, but like I want someone that like I can still go on a run with, and you're kind of like listing out this criteria.
It's a cheerleader or a fan. I think that's what it was. Having someone that's like on the sidelines, like, yeah, go Chris, like go do that marathon, and they're just sedentary. Or you want a partner. It wasn't cheerleader or partner, or like teammate. Yeah, cheerleader or teammate. Or you want someone running that marathon with you, pushing you, or you want someone traveling to Nepal and climbing Mount Everest with you. And I think like a little bit of like medium, like, I want her to be a badass in her own way.
But you
like,
want to be calm, and you want to like,
I still want to be a girl, like still be feminine. Let me do the masculine shit, and I'm gonna still take care of you. But yeah, but also I love independent, driven, passionate woman. And I feel like, I mean, obviously this isn't majority, but like a lot of women these days just expect a man to sweep them off their feet and take them away from, and like, oh, well, I don't have to work a job now because my man is rich and he's going to buy me this bag and he's going to do everything for me. And like, yes, I do want to do everything for you, but I still want you to have your own passion, be driven. And it doesn't mean like you need to create this multi-million-dollar business, but like, if you love Pilates, like I want you to go full force and being this Pilates teacher and being passionate. Or if you love, I don't know, architecture, then I want you to be the best damn architect out there. So
yeah, it's passion led, not financial led.
Yeah.
Like you don't need them to make millions, but you want their eyes to light up.
Yeah.
You just want them to be excited and passionate about what they're doing.
Yeah, I want them to have their own life, and we're just, two organisms, and we're just meeting here.
Yeah, it's like 1 + 1 = 3.
Yeah, it's not like you're here.
Yeah, combining. That's cool, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, I want to commend you. I think it's really cool. I think it's cool that we've been able to do this, and we were going to record in Austin last year, then we were going to record in Sydney at some point.
Like so much has changed each time.
It's like different people. Now we're in London.
Yeah, we're in London.
We're in London. Like we both live in Austin, but we're recording this in London. But I just I want to commend you. I think it's really cool. I think the obviously what started blowing you up was that transformation, but I think it makes so much sense from the sense of like who you can become, and hopefully this story and progression can inspire people to just take the leap a little bit more. I think like what we didn't dive into, but what's really fascinating is how you were saying like you were 16, you had all the acne, but you kind of knew that you were going to get out the other side. Like you were there going, oh, I'm gonna once I get out of this, I'm gonna get jacked. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. I think a big thing is people actually don't even know how or when they're ever going to even get out of this dark tunnel, and that can be quite a challenge. It's like that depression feeling of like, this is fucked, and I actually don't know how or when or if there's a way out. And it's interesting to see how a young 16-year-old Fonz, like little Ian running into his room because he can't fucking look at anyone, has belief that he was going to make it out. It's a strange thing, but I think it's fascinating to see. And I think people at all ages and all phases of life can take that as inspiration and go, if 16-year-old Ian can, I'm sure I can. And the reality is there is light at the end of the tunnel. Sometimes you just can't see it, and you just need to have trust in the process.
Yeah. I mean, my mom and dad always told me that all problems are temporary. Like I remember like since I was 6 years old, they've always just driven that into my head. So like, talking about just like suicide or things like that, they've always been like, hey, any problem is temporary. Like I remember just being young and I didn't understand it, but like they were always kind of hinting at that because they knew that, times will get tough. And as an adult, that's kind of a prevalent thing in nowadays times. But yeah, there's always light in the tunnel. And if you don't think so, look at my story from the acne, from the military, to even I have my problems now, like going through my own depressive ruts, my creative ruts. I always know that I've gotten out of it. I can do it again. And I know I'm going to go back into it, but guess what? I've already done it. So I know how to get out of it again. Like you're always going to go through waves and waves, but if you do it once, you can do it twice. You do it twice, then you fucking do it forever. So
let's go. Appreciate you, dude.
Cheers.
Thank you. See you later, guys. We're signing out for this episode. Bye-bye.